What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake MLB DFS Wise stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed above or directly at WiseTake.com. If you're looking to take your DFS game to the next level, we are a premium DFS content provider as well as a DFS community design to help make you a better DFS player. Go check out side day passes available. If you're new to this channel, welcome. You've come to the right place with some free fire DFS content. So subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and don't miss out on any of the free shit we put out. Just watched the Knicks game. Well, I guess it's been about an hour. Still trying to accept how the game went. Shout out to Trae Young. I didn't think he needed to do the whole, quiet thing. Semi-disrespectful, but I get it. The Garden was buzzing. I think they were saying fuck you chants at him or some shit. So he was heated. I get it. But we'll have another shot at him at home on Tuesday. Alright, now that I got that out the way, hopefully you guys had a nice weekend. I had a good weekend. Spent it with friends, with family, with sports, which always makes for a phenomenal weekend. But we're back. First show of the week, and we've got a small one. We're going to kind of ease us in, right? Going to kind of ease us into the week. We've got, I think it's only like 6 games or so, and we're going to do what we do and get into it on our first look, starting with the top pitchers segment, the pitchers that stood out the most on our first look. And we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Obviously, Brandon Woodruff is at the top of the list. He's got the best overall numbers on the slate combined, right? He got the lowest xFIP, the lowest SIERA. He's got, the second highest strikeout rate. And we're talking about samples from this year. If we look at career stats, maybe higher than that. Or is it, second highest? Blake Snell. The issue is he's in Milwaukee, which isn't a great park for pitching, and you can see his BABIP is extremely low at 195, which typically indicates that regression is going to come at some point. It just indicates that maybe he's been a little bit lucky with the balls that have been put in play, right? On top of that, he's facing one of the top offenses in the team. I think I want to say the Padres have the best record in baseball right now, but he's playing the Padres. Now, both teams are implied for extremely low run totals. But Woodruff, I think, is currently the cash game standout when you are looking at all of his numbers. On FanDuel, I think it's between him and Snell, and they're obviously playing each other. So you have that conversation. But on DraftKings, it's probably both of them. Right? There's other guys we can touch on. But on DraftKings, Blake Snell's price is, underneath $9K. So I think you can get away. There's no cores on the slate either. I think you can get away with pairing them. But anyway, Woodruff would be the first one. John Means, I got to add him to the list. His xFIP and SIERA are solid. K-rate's been solid. If we look at what Minnesota has done against lefties so far this season, 111 WRC plus, 328 WOBA, 189 ISO. They've been good against lefties, but a 24.5% K rate. They have been tracking now. On top of that, Nelson Cruz has been missing time. We'll see if he's in. And there's one other player, right? Polanco, I think, has been out and dealing with injuries. So we'll want to take a look at that lineup. But at the very least, we have to at least mention John Means, right? I actually think we could drift towards Minnesota's offense, which I'll probably get into more in my article, which I'll start writing after this show, and it'll be up at some point closer to lock. Not like right at lock. But anyway, Lance Lynn, I think, is a genuine tournament pivot. He's playing the Cardinals. St. Louis, if we look at St. Louis right now against right-handed pitching, we'll see they have an 89 WRC plus, a 298 WOBA, 158 ISO, 33.3 K rate. And they're a predominantly right-handed team. They got a couple lefties, but they have a lot more righties. I think Lynn is viable. Downside, Cardinals can be pesky in terms of strikeouts, and this game is in Chicago, which is a very hitter-friendly park. But Lance Lynn, like we said, we talked about Woodruff. Snell is probably the SP2 and arguably SP1, SP, and I can flip those guys. But I think the way that Snell has looked, I mean, really, if you look at opponent and everything like that, you would think that Milwaukee should. I mean, Snell should be the optimal guy. I think this, from what I've seen this year, I trust Woodruff a little bit more. Snell is facing a Milwaukee team that is currently a 92 WRC plus, 306 WOBA, 140 ISO against lefties, 26.9% K rate. Not great. So yeah, I mean, maybe we say Snell is the alpha SP1 for cash games. I mean, just based off opponent and everything else, right? Yeah, Snell is looking like the best pitcher on the slate right now. He is. Even though I think Woodruff has slightly better numbers elsewhere, it's like a little too minor. And Snell's had, like, he's had his, like, unlucky moments and shit hit. He's right around the league average, a little over it, in fact. If we try to get a little bit cheaper for tournaments, anyway, I think that Kikuchi against Oakland is in play. Now, I do want to point out Oakland has been one of the top teams in the league against lefties. 198 ISO, 333 WOBA, 118 WRC plus, 24.5% K rate. However, Kikuchi's been solid, man. He's got some. His ERA is higher than his xFIP in Sierra. 26.4% K rate's respectable. I don't love the price. I think the price is what would push me towards the Oakland side here, because I feel like I'm not really getting that good of a deal to play Kikuchi at these prices. You know what I'm saying? I'm curious to see how popular he is, though. Does that price drive down his ownership? Probably, right? Because you're so close to Snell at that point. $600 away from Snell. Why wouldn't you grab Snell? Right? I'm going to skip down. So we don't know who the pitcher is for the Mets yet. I know DraftKings and FanDuel both had Peterson, but MLB Probables doesn't have anybody on there yet. So we don't actually know for sure. I don't know what the deal is. But Peterson's numbers are pretty solid. I know he's coming off of a rough start. His numbers are pretty solid, right? Really low xFIP. Second lowest Sierra. 28.9% K rate. I was wrong about this dude. And he's looked really good for the most part. On top of that, he's playing a Colorado Rockies team that has a 24.4% K rate. However, it is worth noting that they have a 102 WRC plus, 345 WOBA, and a 173 ISO against lefties. So this is really like something I meant to put in the things to watch section. But he came up, right? Like I was passing through him. But something to keep an eye on. We don't know for sure if he is pitching. Frankie Montas has not looked good. His numbers don't look good, but he plays Seattle. And you know who else does not look good? Seattle. They showed some pop, man. I'm dogging them a little too hard. 86 WRC plus, 286 WOBA, 157 ISO, and a 25.8% K rate. This game is also in Oakland, one of the best pitching parks in the game. So he'll be the trendy cheap option on DraftKings at 6.2. Not on FanDuel at 8.4, but on DraftKings at 6.2, he'll be the trendy cheap SP2. And that's, those are the pitchers that I think stood out. We addressed them. Now, we'll get into offenses. Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, the Detroit Tigers. Currently, now I think we have two games that we don't actually have totals for yet. I do this show live the night before. It's currently 10:37 p.m. Eastern. And I think there were two games. I know the Mets, we don't have a total. Oh, the Mets we do. Okay. So we do it. I'm wrong. I'm dead wrong. As of right now, we do have all the totals. The Detroit Tigers currently have the highest implied run total at 4.7 runs. Now, again, it can change as the money changes, as the lines move. But as of right now, at 10:38 p.m. Eastern, Sunday night, the Tigers currently have the highest implied run total at 4.7. That should tell you everything you need to know about the offenses on this slate. Now let's get into the Tigers. So they're playing Sam Hentges, and I understand this. Hentges has been terrible. 6.46 ERA, 5.57 xFIP, only a 19% K rate. If we look at Detroit against lefties, however, I'm going to scroll down because I want y'all to see every one of these. Make sure you can see. There we go. They're the worst WRC plus against lefties by far. They have a 258 WOBA, a .084 ISO, and a 33.1% K rate. Yeah. So we'll see what wins out. I know that's one I should have left for the what wins out, but we just needed to address it because we're talking about top offenses, and that's a thing. So we needed to address that. All right, my favorite offense, and I don't think it's going to change much going into tomorrow, is the White Sox. I'm willing to take some shots with the White Sox. That reason is they're playing a lefty, and I'm always going to have exposure to them against a lefty. I'm just always going to. They may not be my favorite stack every night against lefty, but I'll have exposure. 131 WRC plus, 356 WOBA, 180 ISO, 23.3% K rate. They're at home in a hitter-friendly park. They're going up against a lefty and Kwang Hyun Kim, who's looked okay, right? Nothing against this dude, but he's a lefty in a small park against this team. And if the stack works, I think it has the most upside because log in that right quick. I get logged out of my own site, and that's some bullshit. Got logged out of my own site. That's some bullshit. Alright, so this is our bullpen stats, which is available for WiseTake Nation subscribers at WiseTake.com. If we sort by xFIP, xFIP, mother saga. Who's got the highest xFIP? Which bullpen has the highest xFIP in the league? Currently, the St. Louis Cardinals. So, some serious potential for upside is all I'm saying. All right, now to get my own biased take out of the way. Baltimore and Minnesota, that game is interesting. So, we'll start with Baltimore. They've been playing better. I know it's Baltimore and they suck, but they are a lot better against lefties. 80 WRC plus, 282 WOBA, 135 ISO, 24% K rate. It's not great. But, I mean, they're playing Shoemaker, who's got a 5.43 extra, but 14% K rate. It's got to help them put the balls in play, right? So I think that Baltimore, and they've been playing well, man. They put up a lot of runs in that series against the Nats. That their pitching has been terrible, but they've played well offensively. And that's how bad the slate is for offense. I think I'll leave it there. I feel like I'm forgetting to talk about one particular team, but the Twins, right? I know we talked about Kikuchi, but looking at numbers, the Twins they're banged up. But that game kind of feels like it could be, it's two offenses that do have power that can play. You can see getting overlooked. All right, now into things to watch. Austin Gomber has not looked very good this season, but he's got a 24% K rate. He gets a great park to pitch in New York, Citi Field. And we can look at the Mets against lefties, but it's pretty much useless. So they weren't great against lefties to begin with, 24% K rate, 128 ISO, blah, blah, blah. But they got some serious injuries, right? Their projected lineup right now, and they've been playing with this kind of lineup, is VR, who's been probably their best hitter lately. Francisco Lindor, number 2. Cameron Maybin, number 3. Dom Smith, he's good, number 4. McCann, he can hit lefties, but he's been cold. Jose Peraza, John Choi Fargo, Khalil Lee. That's the projected lineup for the Mets. So you gotta have to make a decision on Gomber. Something's gonna happen there. Either he's gonna pitch well, or you're gonna get a lot of value Mets at low ownership that do well, right? So you get something there. Another thing to watch: Spencer Turnbull. And if you're wondering why I didn't make Spencer Turnbull in the top pitchers section, it's not because of any disrespect to him coming off his no hitter. I respect it. It's because Cleveland has been just real pesky. you know. Yeah, against righties, not as much. They've been striking a little bit more against righties, 24.8%, 170 on ISO, 293. But they're just a team I don't love picking on with pitchers, and I wanted to save it for the this particular segment. Well, first of all, let me verify that this is the first game after the no-hitter. I think it is, right? Yeah, it is. 117 pitches. That's the most he's thrown by far. That always makes me nervous. I know I said it before in a previous stream, but that always makes me nervous. When a guy's thrown that many more pitches than he's thrown all season. I respect Turnbull, and it looks like he's getting back to how he was a couple years ago. Last year, he kind of took a step backwards. 2 years ago, he was pretty solid. So you can make the argument for him. I'm not going to, hate on it. But Cleveland's a team that can be pesky, and they're a team I don't love to attack. But certainly some. Put it here. How does he follow up the no-hitter? And that's it. We're getting to Dong Watch. It's a weird slate. It's an interesting slate. It's a slate that could be won. I see some interesting facts in the chat. Time to Grind says, first of all, it says White Sox, let's do it. Let's go. I'm liking it. Let me see. Saw something. Yeah, Time to Grind says, what about Cleveland? So, yeah, I think Cleveland's in play. I think that on a slate, realistically, on a slate like this, I don't think the offenses look great, but we got a guy coming off a no-hitter. He's throwing more pitches than he's thrown. Even if he's not bad, there's a good chance they just have a tighter leash on him, or a pitch, or some sort of pitch monitoring maintenance. Maybe he gets some arm fatigue. He threw 117 pitches. That's a lot more than he's thrown all season, right? So we want to keep these kind of things into mind. So I think Cleveland could be a very low and sneaky stack. And Detroit's bullpen's been ass. Doo-doo butter. Yes, indeed. Sean V says Gomber has been a lot better in May. And the Mets are awful in that park always against lefties, and now the lineup is awful. It's atrocious. It's atrocious. And walks up in an issue for him. That is true. Sean V with another interesting fact. Turnbull 0-6 versus Cleveland. 0-6 versus Cleveland. Leonard Pumphrey, I see you. Turnbull coming off no-hitter high. Yeah, agreed. So it's an interesting slate. It's not a pretty one. We have pitchers to consider, but when you're trying to look at offenses, it's not pretty. But I think that on slates like these, it's typically better to, at least for the offense, because that's really the murky part. The pitching is a little more straightforward. The offense part is a little murky. In tournaments, you want to, more so than usual, get different. This isn't like we have the Yankees at home against like some shit lefty, or that's really something from a couple of years ago. But you know what I mean? Like you're passing up on that. If the optimal play is the Tigers' offense, because just going off of like implied team totals, that should make you like pause, right, and think about it, right? Like, I got some pretty good offenses on the slate. Right, you got a couple of good ones. San Diego's a good one. I know they have a tough matchup, but they're a good one. I think the White Sox offense is good. Right, Oakland and Minnesota have good offenses, and then you got Cleveland's offense, who I think is not great, but I don't think they're necessarily as bad as they've looked. So there's some interesting spots to take into consideration. But anyway, Nation, that's gonna do it for me tonight. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. We'll be here covering slates Monday through Friday as we always do. Hit the like button. Leave me some comments. Love hearing that shit. Share the show as much as you can. The more we grow, the more we put back into the show, the more we help the nation grow, which allows us to continue to do dirties on YouTube. That being said, for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.